So hooking up spark, this is number one. Got to put my clamp and my bolt, my washer. So we want to be able to move it, but we don't want to be so loose that it moves itself. Or that if we bump it too much, it moves itself. I think that's probably pretty good. Maybe not. I like that for tension. And this is the original factory distributor. I just cleaned it up a little bit. Clean up your contacts so you get better spark control. Now we have to wire up this stuff over here. If you don't have one of these, you should get one of these. They're available online. You can download them, but it helps to decipher what it is you're doing over here. So these wires are coming from wiring harness, ECU, or not ECU, but this side. And then you have this wire coming over here. I labeled these before I took things apart, but I didn't label it well enough because I'm still a little bit confused. But that happens. So first, I'm going to mount the box to the bracket. So box mounted to the bracket. These are little bitty 5mm. These are 5mm studs. So, you know, be careful. And then this is going to stay in here, sort of, kind of. It's going to pop through over here. But first, I'm going to get it mounted, I think, or maybe not. Maybe I want to pull all this through. Can y'all see? Yeah, that's a pretty good view. Good for y'all. And this. Where's that body ground? This one. I'm gonna put this right here. Yeah. So if your car has one of these, you need to run one of these. It helps with the circuit inside the distributor from not burning it out. It also helps regulate the power in the upper RPMs to provide more amperage as the RPMs go up. So without it, if you don't have a ballast resistor, then you don't need one, because there's two different styles of distributor, let's say, okay? There's a 3 ohm and a 1.5 ohm. You need to know which one you're supposed to have. If you do upgrades and change over to electronic ignition breakerless ignition inside the distributor, you probably also need to change your coil. You can't run the 3 ohm coil on the other stuff because it will burn it up. It'll work for a little while and then everything will just go bad. So this is, I can't get on this now at all. And I don't like that. We could flip it over. Let's try that. What if we... this, and then I want to go like this. I will take a picture of it and put it on the community tab and also on the Facebook and stuff. So what we have left is a bunch of wires that go different places. So we can look at this one with these green and brown and this connection, and we know that goes into the distributor. I knew that when I took it off, so I didn't have to label it. Now all we have to do is find, there it is, find the connection on the distributor. And you're asking yourself, he just did all this work to the motor and he's running this old distributor. Yes, I am. For now. Here's why. Think about this, okay? Known, unknown. So I know this thing fires. I checked it. I ohmed it out. It reads right. It's old. It may not be as powerful as it could be, but I know it's going to work. I know my fuel injection system should work. It worked when I took it off. That's why I'm putting it back on there. After we get this thing running, tuned, dialed in, then we can start making changes to electronics. If you start changing everything at once and you have a problem, then it's a little bit more difficult to track down where your problem's coming from. So one step at a time, change one thing at a time. So when it's time to upgrade, distributor, spark box, all of that other kind of stuff, we'll change that all as a unit. That way we're not trying to have to figure out what's not connected right. What did I hook up backwards? What's not functioning? Something like that. And then this one says coil negative. This one says coil negative. Is this even going to go up there? It sure is. Okay, cool. So let me pull this off. And then this wire is actually yellow. And when you look on the wiring diagram, it goes coil negative. Sorry. I got distracted. That's a ground. Get out of the way, ground. What is this? This is positive. This is ground. Stop. Okay. Coil negative. Just a simple plug. It plugs into one side of the ballast resistor. And then ballast resistor plugs into positive side of the coil. And then this thing is of unknown status. This condenser. But like I said, it was running. It was running, so we leave it connected. and then we'll change it later. Less diagnosis to go through when something goes wrong for now. No, the battery hasn't been hooked up for a year, so you know, make sure battery's disconnected when you're doing all this. You could zap yourself. Again, 5mm studs in plastic, 40-year-old plastic. Take it easy. And then the last two connections are on the inside, and they're just dummy connections, so you really can't mess it up. And then that's it. But what I want to do is zip tie these up and out of the water. I'm going to be honest, that was easier than I thought. Plug wires and stuff. So we can put the cap on. And if you don't like the way your cap is sitting, you pull the distributor, rotate it, and then put it back down. I think we'll be okay with this because we're going to have to put some adjustment on it anyway. But you'll see people with a cap facing the wrong way. Maybe they like it. But what I'm saying is you unbolt it, you pick it up, you line it up, and you re-stab it, and then you lock it back down, and you can get the angle that you want. So one of these things is not like the other. This one goes to the coil and the distributor. This one goes to a spark plug and the distributor. And then there are different lengths because the plugs go that way. So shorter, longer, longest is generally the way it's done. And you can run some dielectric grease or something like that. That's encouraged. Not really going to do it right now because this is all probably coming off pretty soon. Make sure the plug wire goes all the way in. And try not to mess your timing up too much until you get it locked down. Sorry. Working over here. It's a working shop. New GoPro batteries, so maybe less hiccups, electronically speaking, on the camera. We'll see. I think you could probably have a problem if you're not careful when you're pushing these back down. If you pull this out, you're going to break the contact. So you're pulling it out, and you're pushing down on this little cap. Make sure you're not pulling your plug wire out when you're doing that. Make sure you run it over to the right plug. So now we got to run vacuum line from distributor up under here. And then for that I bought some new vacuum line. This is silicone. It's a little big thickness wise, but it's not going to crush under vacuum. And I'm going to replace all of them, but we'll start with this one. Fits good. I like it. Run it all the way down. I'm going to go under that. And so that's electronics for the distributor, coil, spark box. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, especially if you have a wiring diagram. If you didn't label everything when you took it off, you're going to need a wiring diagram. As long as it wasn't bastardized by a previous owner, the wiring diagram's probably pretty good. So, coolant, fuel, sparkerator, all done. Exhaust is hooked up. There ain't no gas in it. But I got some fuel over there. I got like 4 gallons. I don't have any coolant, so I have to get that. That's a whole nother video. Here's the thing about the fuel injection on these cars. It's vacuum operated, okay? When you hit the gas, you open this butterfly valve, the motor sucks air, creating a vacuum. There's a little meter in here, like a door, that goes like this. So this goes like that, sucks vacuum. This thing goes like this, lets air in. This is what tells the injectors when and how much to fire. So the connection from here to here needs to be secure. Also, this port plugs into the rubber boot. It needs to be secure. This port plugs into the rubber boot. It needs to be secure. But then also the vacuum lines coming off of everything else, they all need to be secure, not leaking. So if you're getting funky driving conditions, like it warms up just fine, but then you go out on the road and you hit the gas and it'll go for a little bit and then it starts to bog off, die, skip, fart, buck. Check your tube and make sure everything's connected. If you're sucking any extra air in there through a crack or something that's not tightened down, it will affect the way it drives. So first step, drivability issues, check the connections, make sure all the vacuum lines are hooked up, make sure everything's connected and not leaking.